Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. This is episode 194, and today I have a murderless story for you. In August 2012, Nancy Shore arrived at her home to find a man holding a gun to her. At first, she thought this was a completely random act, maybe robbery, but what she would soon learn is much more sinister. But before we get into this week's story, Sierra, do you have a fun fact for me?
I do have a fun fact. So I alluded to the fact that I have been listening to Just the Zoo of Us more and more recently.
Yes.
So a lot of my facts are going to be animal related.
I'm so here for it.
My newest fun fact that I discovered from Just the Zoo of Us is that squirrels are so, I don't know if smart is the right word, that they have become criminals in their own squirrel community. They do crimes against each other.
Oh, not just like stealing a piece of lunch meat from somebody's sandwich, putting the bread back on it and leaving. Okay.
Some squirrels secretly watch other squirrels hide their nuts so that when that squirrel leaves, they can go dig it up and steal the nut.
Oh, that's so sad.
In contrast, some squirrels know another squirrel is watching, so they'll pretend to hide the nut, run away, wait for that squirrel to start digging, and hide it over here now since that squirrel's not paying attention. They're like
criminal masterminds.
I don't know what's happening with squirrels, but yeah.
I think this is a friendly reminder, guys, for all of you animal lovers to help them in the winter, because clearly things are getting competitive. Oh my god. I was gonna make a joke because this lady that I follow on Instagram, she has a squirrel box. She makes squirrel boxes and then she puts little cameras in them so she can like tap into it on her phone. And it was hilarious because she caught one sleeping and he was like facing the camera with his legs open. I didn't realize that squirrel testicles were so big.
Yeah.
Like for their tiny little bodies. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit alarmed.
Yeah,
I'm like, how are you carrying that up a tree?
Right? Mm. Yeah, but squirrels are not even kind of endangered. They hump like rabbits. No need to help them. They'll be all right.
Well, I mean, I just don't like the idea of like squirrel bullying happening out there and like theft. That makes me sad.
Yeah.
But I mean, animals are evolving. I don't know where I heard it, but somebody told a story about animals evolving and like a squirrel walked up to somebody's sandwich, lifted the bread off, took the meat, put the bread back on and walked away. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Okay. Like, sure, just take the good part and leave the rest.
Goodness gracious.
My fun fact, I can't remember what podcast I heard this on. I do not actually have a source for it, but I have confirmed it with Google that it is a legitimate thing. So houses that were built before the 1900s are very rare and far in between. But before they had electricity, they used to build houses and the layouts of the houses inside based on the light, like where it sat in the universe. So like in the morning you would have sun in the study and in the kitchen and like these areas, and then as the sun would set throughout the day it would rotate, and certain areas where you would go in the evening would be more well lit than the other parts.
That makes sense.
And I thought that was fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's very smart. So some people who have older houses often complain that the layout is super weird. That's why.
That is
the more
really
you know.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
right?
like it.
As somebody that has been looking at houses, because mine and Kevin's mortgage comes up next year, and we always talk about moving to a cheaper province. So I've seen like a couple of really cool houses, and he's like, the layout on this is weird. And I'm like, well, this is why.
Yeah. I have a house that the sun now rises in it would rise in my bedroom and the kitchen and the living room. And then it would set in the front of the house. So
So
it
you get to
rises in the
go
back
watch
and sets in the front.
sunsets on your front
On the front
porch?
porch, yeah. And
Oh
watch
my
sunrises on the
god.
back with coffee. I love
Oh,
it.
magic. Yeah, your property is very pretty. Even though your neighbors are being dicky and building a
Yeah.
fence in between.
I'm not really sure what's happening there. I'm thinking after we get all like moved in and good, I'm gonna like bake them some brownies. Like, I'm so sorry that we were loud while we were, building, and maybe that'll make them chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's cool, and I think that that's very neighborly of you, and in true Southern charm, as it turns out. And as today's episode takes place in the South, I
Ooh.
chose a Texas Lone Star lemonade as our pairs well with today.
Mm.
So traditionally, a Texas Lone Star lemonade has Tito's handmade vodka, lemon liqueur. My favorite is limoncello. You can add a sour mix to it, which I did not because I made my own lemonade, and that just seems crazy talk to me. And you can add agave to sweeten it up a little bit, some fresh lemon juice. They also have like summery type recipes with strawberries or mint or any other ingredients. So, because the weather is starting to get a little bit nicer, I decided to add some oomph with some strawberries to my strawberry lemonade. And I'm actually not drinking today because everybody at my work is sick. And I just started a new job and I don't want to get sick because that would look bad on me. And alcohol lowers your immune system. So, today I am drinking a homemade strawberry lemonade, and it is fucking delightful. My
Yeah.
first 2 sips were a little sour, but I think I just needed to stir it a little bit better. Now I don't know if it's the strawberries seeping in now, but it's getting better. What did you do for yours?
I is also a strawberry lemonade. I muddled, I think, 3 strawberries, juiced an entire lemon, muddled basil with it, and then I used honey because I was gonna use simple syrup, but I didn't have any more. I don't know where my simple syrup went. So I used honey for sweetener and then just put water in it. It's really good.
Yeah, refreshing, especially
Mhm.
after a day at the beach.
Mhm.
I'm super happy with this choice of beverage today, and it is perfect for an alcoholic or a non alcoholic version. So I hope you guys enjoy, and cheers to that. And before we get into this week's episode, we are going to take a quick break. So, like I said at the beginning of our story, today's episode is a murderless episode, but it's got some spice to it. It's got some, as bad as this sounds, true crime tropes, because those exist in true crime. But let's get into it. So, Nancy Shore married Frank Howard in 1983. They would go on to have 3 kids together, raising them in Carrollton, Texas. Their marriage was great by all intents and purposes, and they were really living the American dream together with a beautiful family. Frank was kind and gentle and loving and a very involved father. He coached their kids' soccer teams when they were younger, and as they got older, he never missed a game. Their kids were also very into musical theater, and he never missed a show with him and his wife attending all of them. And their children clearly got their appreciation for singing and theater from their parents, as both Nancy and Frank sang in their church's choir. Church was a very large part of this family's life, and they would even hold Bible study meetings for youth groups as their kids got older. As their kids continued to grow up and become more independent, Frank took on a new role at his work and started to travel a little bit more as a result. Damn it, Stanley!
Sorry. He's a yapper.
He's a total yapper. And then he gets Frank going. I do understand Nancy's feelings here, though, in that she was starting to feel more isolated. Your kids are growing up, your husband is traveling more, That can be a really difficult adjustment. As a kid that grew up with my dad traveling, I know that that was really hard on my mom sometimes. And it was an especially difficult adjustment for Nancy because she was a stay-at-home mom. So she kind of was like in this empty nest syndrome on top of like, what do I do next? So now that you have a picture of this family and their life, let's get into the events at the head of our episode. On August 18th, 2012, Nancy had attended a baptism at her church. She stopped on her way home to do a little bit of shopping and get some takeout, and then she headed home. Frank was away on a business trip, so she was alone. Why not? I'd get takeout too. But when she pulled into their garage and she got out of the vehicle, before she could even react or shut her driver's side door, there was a man with an arm around her neck and a gun to her head. The man demanded her handbag, and at that moment, she managed to wrestle herself away and face her attacker directly. She didn't recognize him, and he was wearing a black baseball cap. She panicked and accidentally handed him the bag of takeout instead of her purse, which, like,
Okay,
same.
but what was it? What was she
We
eating?
don't know.
Because it might have been better than whatever's in the purse.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know what I mean?
I agree.
Like,
yeah.
if Kevin was gone and you were home alone, what would you be eating?
Sushi or Thai food?
Is there a reason, or you just like those?
Because it's not something we usually have at home a lot. And
Yeah.
when I do takeout, I try to strategically plan around what I don't normally get to eat at home.
Yeah, same. So I would either have chicken salad chick or
Ugh.
Chipotle because Jesse hates both of them and hates the smell of both of them. So I can't eat it when he's around. Or I wouldn't even get takeout and I would just make Skyline at home.
Oh, well, my answer would change if I was in the Americas, but that's a separate problem. So, again, the man demanded her handbag and yelled explicitives at her. And according to Nancy, quote, I was close enough to him to shove my purse into his chest. And when I did, I cried out, Jesus, save me. And he immediately shot me in the head, and I went down.
Oh my gosh.
End quote. Nancy lay unconscious on the floor while her assailant ran off, taking the handbag but leaving her car, which he could have very easily stolen. When she miraculously regained consciousness, she could barely breathe and was in excruciating pain.
I'm sorry, but like
The woman got shot in the head.
Life is worth their purse. Like, are you kidding? You just shot her in the head for her purse? I bet there's like $300 cash in there. Like
At
at
max.
most.
And like
What
a
the
bunch of
fuck?
receipts, like 10 lip balms and
Yeah. I need to clean out my purse so bad.
oh my
Like,
god.
it's really
Okay,
rough
you
right
need to
now.
like take a video when you do it because it's really
Ooh.
funny. I keep
Yeah.
seeing these and I'm kind of nosy. I'm like, ooh, what do you have in your bag?
It's so bad.
Mine's pretty bad too. Whatever you believe in, Nancy got extremely lucky that day. Despite being shot in the head, she would survive. The bullet had gone through her head and lodged into her right lung, which indicated to investigators that her assailant was taller than her and was pointing the gun down while he was holding it at her head. Quote, when I came to, I thought I was going to die. And then God spoke to me and said, get up. He gave me the physical strength to get up. End quote. Her cell phone was in her purse, which the assailant had run off with, so she crawled towards her vehicle and pressed a button underneath the steering wheel to call 911. I didn't know that this was a feature in some cars back in the day, but apparently it didn't work very well unless your car was like connected to Wi-Fi in some way.
It's probably OnStar.
So, yeah. So, unfortunately, it didn't work no matter how many times she pressed the button. So she mustered the last little bit of strength that she had and crawled in like her garage towards the door to get into her house to get towards the landline.
Oh my gosh.
When she got into her home, there was a mirror immediately when you walked in from the garage. Quote, I looked at myself and all I could see was blood running down my eye to the beautiful purple shirt that I had just purchased.
No.
And at that point, I realized that I lost my left eye. End quote.
Oh my god.
Nancy was struggling to breathe, but after calling 911, all she could get out was "help me" and her address before hanging up. She then crawled towards her front door, opened it, and collapsed, waiting for paramedics.
Goodness gracious. Also, like, I feel like if anything ever happened to me, where I got hurt, but I survived, I would also be super fucking annoyed that my clothes were ruined. Like,
Oh,
are
I
you kidding
know!
me? I
That's
fucking love
such a
this shirt.
relatable statement,
Really?
that's why I put
It's
it in there.
so hard to find shirts that I actually like.
Nice
Ugh.
colors, flatter you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely felt for her in that moment. It's like priorities. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't have an eye, but, my shirt's ruined now, so that's a bummer. I do not relate in terms of the, extreme religion that Nancy holds, but I respect it and I fucking love her. So,
Yeah.
on the scene, police contacted Nancy's children, because at this point they were adults, and they would call their father Frank and fill him in on what happened. According to one of their daughters, he was beside himself with guilt and began crying. He kept saying that he should have been there. Once Frank was able to fly back home, he visited his wife in the hospital. And again, one of their other daughters stated that he fell to the floor in front of her bed when he saw the state that his wife was in. Police took a description of the shooter from Nancy and began an investigation while she was recovering and found some shocking information. Of course, as you do, you always investigate the husband first. In a search of Frank's mobile phone, they found photographs and text messages from another woman. Frank had been with her at the time of the attack and not on a business trip, as Nancy had initially believed, and this was an affair that had been going on for 3 years.
No wonder he felt fucking guilty.
When Nancy was strong enough to leave intensive care, she received a phone call from Frank admitting that he had cheated. It was going to come out one way or another as the investigation went on, and he wanted her to hear it from him. Quote, "He was actually weeping so hard that I could barely understand him talking to me to tell me what happened." End quote. And most of my information today, just so everybody is aware, because there is a lot of quotes, is an interview from her telling her story. I love BBC for this reason. Frank came to visit Nancy at the hospital several more times after the phone call, but there was more devastating news to come. While she was still recovering from the surgery and undergoing further tests, the police told Nancy that they had arrested the man in connection with the attack. As it would turn out, Frank had been paying a gang of criminals to murder his wife for several years leading up to the attack.
What the fuck?
It was heartbreaking. I can even remember after having eye surgery just weeping and weeping and weeping, and my mother coming in and saying, "You can't cry like that. Your eye has to heal. And you can't be letting your head hang down like that. You're stronger than this." End quote. The criminals had been exploiting Frank, continually demanding more and more money to get the job done. So not only is he an asshole, he's a fucking idiot.
He had so many chances to be like, never mind.
Yeah.
So many fucking chances.
Years of this bullshit.
Oh my god. To say, never mind, I'm just gonna divorce her instead. How fucking hard is that? Ugh.
He was also spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on his secret girlfriend, going for dinners and trips and flying to go and see her. But the crime train does not stop there for Frank. In order to pay for his cheating and his attempts to have his wife killed, he started to embezzle money from one of his wealthier clients. He worked as an accountant and had embezzled around $30 million.
Holy shit. That's a
like
lot
an
of money.
unfathomable amount of money.
Yeah.
Nancy does not know why Frank wanted to have her killed, but she believes that it's because he knew that she would never agree to a divorce and that he wanted to start a new life with his new girlfriend. Like I said, true crime tropes. Unfortunately, we've heard this type of story before in true crime. And I am so, so happy that Nancy survived this.
Also, you don't have to agree to a divorce. You can get a divorce without someone's agreeance. Just because they say, I don't want a divorce, does not mean you have to kill them, okay? You can still get a divorce. It only takes one of you to want it.
Mm-hmm. Life lessons with Twisted and Uncorked people. Fuck. Quote. I had made a I had made a vow to the Lord that I was not going to divorce him, says Nancy. So he began getting involved with another woman. The next thing you know, he's embezzling money because he's trying to show her that he's this rich and successful man. And I think before long he was in over his head, and he felt like he had no other option but to have me shot, end quote.
Did she divorce him after that?
At Frank's trial, the jury took only 2 hours to find him guilty of attempted murder in the trial for his crimes against Nancy. He would stand a separate trial for his embezzlements, as that client wanted to press charges.
Good.
He was sentenced to life in prison and will have to serve 30 years before he is even considered for parole. And by that time, he will be about 85 years old. So hopefully he rots and feels like shit every day. Nancy, on the other hand, has used her faith and kind nature to rise against all that she experienced. Even though she never wanted to divorce Frank, she would eventually.
Good.
During his sentencing, Nancy had a really hard time when the verdict was read. Quote, "It's because I still loved him at that time, and I know that I have to say I still love him. Not in a romantic way, but in a way that he is still the father of my children. And there's always going to be some resemblance of love there." End quote.
I promise you, no, there's not.
Her children were convinced that their father was wrongfully convicted because he was completely untruthful to them, and why their mother had nearly lost their life and what had really been going on. He was continually telling them that he was innocent, that he had nothing to do with this, and that he was a great husband and father, and that this was just a freak accident. And I can understand you not wanting your children to see you as a monster, but come on, dude. Like, the truth is going to come out eventually. And they owe it to have that truth from you.
Goodness gracious.
After the verdict, Nancy and her children left the courtroom separately, having a bit of a disagreement as to what was going on here. It was a month before they actually began to make contact again, which is just really sad to me.
Yeah.
Like, I understand, like, you would not want to believe that your dad would be capable of something like that, but it's just, this case is just, like, a very good example of, like, the emotional side of crimes like this.
Right.
And despite everything that she's been through, Nancy has been able to forgive Frank. She even offered him forgiveness via her victim impact statement at the trial. Nancy refuses to be bitter about it and live any more of her life in emotional pain because of him. The way she sees it, she was given a gift by surviving this attack, and she did not want to waste it. Since Frank went to prison, Nancy had not visited or spoken to him, nor has he tried to reach out to her. She has not seen... Oh, no, sorry. I wrote the same sentence twice. Although Nancy found a way to forgive him, she's still haunted by a number of nagging questions. What happened to the marriage? What in the world caused him to want to go astray and find another woman? She says that she knows that the shooting should be the most devastating part of it and the most conflicting part, but the cheating to her is still the most devastating part of all of this, which I get. Like, 3 years? Can you imagine Jesse having, like, another relationship for 3 years? Like, I would murder Kevin myself.
I mean, if he told her 3 years ago that he wanted a divorce.
Yeah, things
Listen,
might have been
lady.
a little different. Yeah.
But he did. He tried to divorce her. Isn't that
No,
what
he
she
didn't.
said?
No, she
And
said
she
that
said
he
no?
thinks she says that he thinks that he did this because he
'Cause he
knew that
would have
she would
known
never
she would
want
have
it.
said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't even give her the chance. Like,
Yeah.
Nancy's recovery has astonished doctors. She's had numerous operations to rebuild her face and her eye socket, and now has a prosthetic eye. She also has a full-time job working as a legal assistant in a law firm to help others going through these emotional and trying types of cases, specifically messy divorces.
Yeah, I hope she now tells people it's okay to get a divorce. God won't be mad at you.
I hope so too. Quote, I still have a bullet in my lung, and I have lost use of my right arm and hand, unfortunately, and am unable to use it as I type this, says Nancy. She says that she vigorously celebrates every birthday that she's had since the shooting and still experiences joy in singing in her church choir and spending time with her children. Nearly 6 years after the attack on her doorstep, she is trying her best to move on. That was at the time of the interview. Quote, I am still thankful once again for how God has saved my life and the healing that has happened in mine and my children's life. Honestly, it's awesome. And I am excruciatingly happy at this point in my life. And I'm trying to remind others of the strength that they have and the forgiveness that they can give. Life is a gift and it should never be wasted. And honestly, I admire Nancy and her strength so, so much. I personally don't think that I would be this big of a person to be able to live life the way that she's living.
Yeah.
And I just think that she's so beautiful. Every interview that I've watched of her afterwards, she just has like a little glow about her, and like, I don't know. I think that that's really cool. So that
It
is the
is.
survival story of Nancy Shore.
Mm.
And I hope you all enjoyed it.
That is very interesting. I was going to say very fun. You know, happy endings and all, but
it's not fun. Yeah.
not fun.
Not fun at all. Honestly, I'm glad that her children and her were able to I get it. I get it. If my dad had done this, I think I would have a hard time believing it too, but I don't think I would take it out on my mom, you know? Like, it feels a little misplaced, but
Yeah.
when you're in your early 20s, you don't necessarily have a good grasp on your emotional stability as much as you think you do. So,
Right.
I don't know. I think that she's such a cool person. If you look at photos of her, she looks like she's beaming. She's this cute little, like, 60-year-old lady. I love her. I don't know. I don't necessarily relate to the faith side of all of this, but I agree that the universe gave her a second chance and wanted her to be able to help other people in messy situations, and it seems like she's thriving. So,
Yeah. Good for her.
have you heard this story before?
I had not.
Okay. Again, I told Sierra before we hit record that I was nervous that we had either discussed this or maybe covered it at some point in the past, then that I was going to have to pivot at the last minute, but we're good.
We're good.
And I personally love survival stories. When we did our badass coverage with Crime Diner, our
Oh, yeah.
badass ladies coverage, I remember that the case that they covered was a man that had tried to have a hit put out on
Yeah.
her wife as well, or
Yeah.
his wife as well, and she like fought the assailant and like was a total badass. I just love stories like that. So just a reminder that again, you can get a divorce, and again, fucking stop trying to kill your spouses, people. Just divorce. Ugh. And I'm glad, honestly, I'm really glad that their kids were older at this point, because it reminded me of Chris Watts too, like trying to start over with his new girlfriend and killing
Right.
his wife and kids. Like, this is fucked up, the desperation that people go to. If you look up Frank, he looks like he has dead eyes for sure. His mugshot is rough. But yeah, that is that. And to continue on the train of positivity in the name of Nancy, do you have anything fun or exciting or anything you want to mention that you wouldn't normally?
I found. Nope, I'm gonna save that one. I finally got my book from the library. I started reading a book on Libby, and then my hold got taken away. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go get the physical book. I went to get the physical book, and they're like, sorry, there's a wait. Someone else has already got it, but only one person where on Libby it's like 8,000 people. It's ridiculous. Not really, it's like 300, but still that's a lot.
Still, that's a lot of
So
people
one
in line for a
person
book.
Yeah. I waited like 4 months for that book. So I went and I placed a hold. They told me it was ready. I forgot to get it for a week. And then I went to go get it and they're like, sorry, we already canceled it and someone else has it. I'm like, no, please put me on hold again. They put me on hold again. I finally got it. I have it. It is in my possession. I only have like 100 pages left. So I'm like, I just need to finish these last 100 freaking pages.
Yeah.
So
That's how
I'm
I'm
so glad I have
feeling
it.
with Court of Silver Flames. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm mentally ready to be done with this series and have to wait for another
Oh,
book. So I
let me
started
tell you.
reading the first 20 pages of Fourth Wing. So now I'm just like juggling a little bit. But you have not watched this most recent season of Love is Blind, but one of the girls I really love, her name is Monica, and she's just super relatable, and she keeps making a Court of Thorns and Roses, like, jokes on her reels and stuff because she's like, "Hear me out. Maybe I found my Tamlin, Ianthe," or whatever the priestess's name is, and then she's like, "Imma hold out for my Cassian," and so I messaged, like, I accidentally I went to comment, and now Instagram has this thing where you can message somebody directly from
Right.
their post, which I didn't mean to do, but I was trying to do it quickly on my lunch break, um, and I was like, "Really? Cassian over Rhysand? Alright, like, I can get it," like, I don't know, Cassian's too for me, I don't know, I think I like Rhysand better still, but
Nope.
I'm not done yet, so
I am
Nesta.
Nessa. So Cassian is for me.
Well, you know that he's a packin' in more ways than one. The last, like, chunk of the book that I read that was really cute that I meant to text you about was, like, their sleepover together,
Mhm.
with Gwen and, Emery, and I was just like, "So cute with the little magic
Okay.
bubbles in the house," and I'm like, "I love this
Okay.
so much."
Okay. So, where are you with Asriel?
Say that again?
Where's your Asriel? Who are you shipping with Asriel right now?
Oh, I'm not there yet. I don't think I'm
I
there
mean,
yet.
like, you think Asriel
Oh!
and Elaine should be together, or someone else?
No, I'm still Asriel and Elaine, so I don't know if somebody else
Really?
has come into the picture in the last, like, 100
Oh my
pages here.
gosh.
I don't know, he just seems to love her so much, but he is, like, a gentle soul to me in that, like, when he gave Nesta her solstice gift, and it was, like, a little, like, like, a fey light so she could read, I'm like, "That's so cute," like
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very excited to finish it, but I'm also not ready, and I guess I'll let you know where I stand on that when I actually finish
Yeah,
it.
at the end.
Um, but the something that I wanted to tell you about, if you would like to learn more about our books and our bestie talk, you will have to come and join Patreon for some bitch and wine action. But what I actually wanted to tell you about was the And That's Why We Drink show. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
If our listeners are available to go to their Here for the Booze tour, no, the Poor Decisions tour, I would very much recommend it. It's very different from anything they've ever done. Um, I will give one little teaser in that one of the places that they covered was somewhere that Sierra and I had actually gone together. So it was kind of cool to see them do an overnight there and some of the things that happened. Um, Very well done. Kevin is not he has never once listened to an episode of That's Why We Drink in his
Yeah.
life. He is only familiar with Christine because I mentioned it when Zandy came on the show initially and all of that. But he's like I caught him laughing several times. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh shit. The seats were amazing. We were like in the front row. I was thinking we were gonna be in like a nosebleed area or like a ticket that hadn't sold, but we actually had really good seats.
They gave you
And
VIP. What are you talking about?
a bunch of drunk girls got kicked out around us because they were like heckling them and yelling in the crowd.
What?
And I'm like, I was so annoyed because there was 6 girls behind us in the row behind us, and when they came in with drinks, they, like, bumped my chair because, like, on the ground, there were, like, those fold-out chairs
Yeah.
with, like, the pads. So they bumped my chair, and I knocked red wine all over my white shoes, so I was already pissed off.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
the entire show, they're, like, yelling and, like, making jokes at them, and I'm like, "That's so inappropriate." Like, I understand that you're a fan of the show, but you're not here to have a conversation with them while they're doing a show. So, like, you could see that, like, Christine was, like, very much trying to ignore them and stuff, and then they got warned several times before getting kicked out, and I was like, "Finally."
That's
But I laughed
crazy.
because I saw one of the comments on I have 2 cool things to tell you about that. One of the comments on their YouTube channel, somebody was like, "Oh, I was in this, like, front row area, I paid so much money for these tickets, and these girls were, like, heckling you the whole time," so I was like, "You guys were somewhere around us then." But when I was waiting in line to get a drink, 2 girls that were standing behind me, I turned around and I, like, almost bumped into them, and they were like, "Hey, you just recorded with them, didn't you?" So they watched our YouTube video and they were like, "Are you Alecia
Oh,
or Sierra?" So they just started listening to our show and they were
that's
super
so
excited.
cool.
And I was like, "It's finally happening." So I think I was more awkward in that interaction than I care to admit, but I was so taken aback by it, and I was like and Kevin and I also got into a fight on the walk there, so it was like a whole thing. But I was,
Oh
like,
my
in a weird
gosh.
space as it was. Because we were trying to find parking, and it was pouring rain. It was an event, so all in all, it was a lot of fun. I have more to tell Sierra, but I'm gonna tell that behind the paywall because they put on a really fucking good show, and you should go
Yeah.
and see it. But yeah, I have some more fun details about that for Sierra. But if you are that person that bumped into me at the bar, thank you. Like that was like made my whole day. Um, and if you were one of the assholes that bumped red wine onto my white shoes, shame on
Shame.
you. Shame on you. Do better.
And your
Um,
cow.
shame on you and your cow. Oh my god. Every time Thumper, like, gets pissy about something, it's like we've shamed his whole ancestry. Like, shame on you and your cow. That's what that made me think of. But anyways, that was this episode, guys. I don't know what Sierra has planned for you next week, but if you liked this
Oof.
episode, please leave us 5 stars right now. It is the best way for other people to find us. And if you like it, recommend us to a friend because we're not going to promote you yelling at people on the street, but word of mouth is a thing too. So thank you so much. And based on that oomph, I'm going to guess that it's a crazy case.
It's a crazy
Is
case.
it your conspiracy
It
episode?
is my conspiracy episode.
Yeah, Sierra sent me a text message saying that she was reading a book and that she was actually scared, guys.
It was terrifying.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned. You should be afraid of more things than just the person that you've been married to for several years and share
Apparently.
children with, apparently. But we love you so much. We will see you next week. And in the meantime,
Keep it twisted.
Twisted and Uncorked is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alecia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode.